After the eclipse, you're going to have a lot of pictures of the sun going around, and people will have them sending one to the other. You'll find in the newspapers, you'll find in magazines, and the question is, are you allowed to own such a thing? Are you allowed to have such a thing in your house? You buy in a magazine, it has that picture. Are you allowed? It says in Halacha, in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuf Mem Aleph, that there's a list of things that one is not allowed to have, not allowed to make, and not allowed to own. אסור לעשותם, אפילו הם לנוי, ואם עובד כוכבים עשאם, אסור לו להשותם. Some things you're not allowed to do, מדאורייתא. Some things, if the goy made them, you're still not allowed to own them because of chashad. Some things bring out chashad, suspicion, that you might be oved worshipping those things. People used to worship the sun. So therefore you're not allowed to own pictures of the sun. Says the Shulchan Aruch, במה דברים אמורים? בבולטת אבל בשוקעת. That would be מותר לעשותם. וצורת חמה ולבנה, when we're talking about the moon, the sun, the stars וכוכבים, אסור בין בולטת בין שוקעת. You're not allowed to have it rise, and you're not allowed to have it flat, which means on a paper, on a picture. Not allowed to have it. And you're not allowed to draw it, you're not allowed to own it. Unless, אם הם להתלמד, להבין ולהורות, כולם מותרות, אפילו בולטות. Which means, if it's something that's done in order to learn how to be Mekadesh the Chodesh, things like that, then you're allowed to have such a thing. So according to what we're learning right now, you're not allowed to have the picture of the eclipse. And this is something that we need to know normally. You're not allowed to have in your house pictures of the sun, of the moon, of stars. There's some leniencies that the poskim bring down, but at large, that's the halacha. But there is also a leniency here as well. What are the leniencies that we can find? First of all, the Shevet HaLevi was mesupak in Chelek Zayin. Maybe it's only when something is drawn, not some picture that was taken, a photo. That could be that doesn't fall into that isur. So therefore, that's one leniency. Second leniency that he himself brings down, and also of Nissim Karelitz at Chut Shani, on Ilchot Pesach on the back, he has a section that speaks about these things. He says over there that the isur is only when you have the full sun, not when you have it drawn as something that's not complete. And over here, the Shach brings such a thing down as well. The Shach says, נראה שכל צורות דאסרינן אינם אסורים אלא בצורה שלמה ממש. You have to have the full image, the full picture. On the moon, you don't have to have that. Moon, if you make a half a moon, a quarter moon, that's also asur. Why? Because that's the way you see the moon normally. Although the sun also, when it sets, you see part of it, but that is only for a very short time. Normally a sun is the full sun. The moon, you'll see throughout the month, it comes out as something that's not full, and therefore that's also not allowed to draw. So therefore you have over here two leniencies. One leniency is that it's made out of in the photo, in the picture. You didn't draw it. Second leniency is the fact that it's not a full sun as it sets. Part of it is being cut. What about the size of the moon that's being taken over the sun? Could be that the moon itself should be asur. That also we can allow, because he brings down that the only way that it's asur is if you draw it in the colors that it comes, which means the sun would have to be drawn in the color of the sun. If you draw a sun in blue, in white, that's mutar. What about the moon? The moon also has a color. Now you're going to see the dark side of the moon. That's not the normal color of the moon. So it could be that also adds to a leniency. So you have over here something that's a photo, and you have the wrong color. And it could be that you're not seeing altogether that thing. It's just some kind of black ball that's covering the sun. So it could be for all these reasons one is allowed to own such a thing, especially that today some of the poskim, like the Chochmat Adam brings down, that since the whole thing is Isur atu avodah zarah, it's a chashad that people would think that you worship avodah zarah. Today people don't worship anymore the moon and the sun. Could be for that reason as well, it could be matir.